We're back, baby. We are back. Waited over 2 years for this. Season 2 is here. What we'll do is I'll give a quick episode breakdown, and then we can kind of give our thoughts and speculation. That sound good?
Sure.
All right. So, jumping right in, right where we left off Season 1, the Severance elevator opens up to a disorientated Mark. And he's distressed. He's bloody. He didn't know what's going on. Because last we saw him, he was at his sister's house and just found out that Miss Casey, aka his wife, is alive. So he runs out the elevator. Just the camera is purposefully sporadic and follows him running through the office, mirroring the first season, but with much more chaos and urgency going on. He goes to the wellness center to find it's mysteriously gone. And then he goes to the MDR, and his coworkers, they're replaced with different folks. So no more Helly, Dylan, or Irving. It's now Mark W., Gwendolyn Y., and Dario R. Potentially non-consequential characters, but we'll see how it works out. Then Milchek comes in. We find out that Milchek has replaced Miss Cobell, and he's the new manager. And in his place, as deputy manager, is Miss Wong, a 12-year-old little Asian girl.
What is going on? And where is it?
Dylan!
And what is going on?
Milchek tells Mark that since their little stunt with the overtime contingency protocol, the four of them have made national news. They become almost the new faces of Lumen, and Mark tries to sabotage his new coworkers by putting a note in one of their coats to set off the detectors. Milchek immediately figures this out and has a run-in with Mark. Mark demands his old team back, which Milchek eventually obliges to. The four of them meet up for the first time since their outside adventure. Milchek shows them a claymation video of Lumen spinning the story of the four of how their outside adventure went a little bit. In the new break room, it's no longer the break room from season 1 where it's kind of a torture chamber. It's more of a relaxing, presentation room. They watched this video of their claymation story narrated by none other than, do you know who that was?
Trying to remember the voice.
It's your favorite, Jonathan.
Jonathan?
Wick.
Ah, Keanu.
It's Keanu.
Wow.
After they watch the video, they tell each other what they saw on the outside, except for Helly. Notably, she lies and tells them she was at her apartment and tried to tell someone about Severance and Lumen, when in reality, she is the daughter of the Lumen CEO. So there's kind of an area of mystery of why she exactly lied to them. Milchek gives them a choice to either leave permanently and never come back to the severed floor or stay. And of course, they all choose to stay, resolving that they'll work out this mystery and try to continue figuring this out together. At the end, we see Mark working on a file called Cold Harbor, and as he puts in the numbers in the macrodata refinement folder, it cuts to a corresponding screen with Miss Casey as she's being monitored, almost in a hospital state. So it's implied that there's some connection between Miss Casey specifically and Mark's working on this macrodata refinement and these numbers, but we don't know exactly what. That's a long breakdown of what happened in the episode, but Chris, what'd you think of the episode?
The last season, again, it's been a few years. You might have to remind me a couple things, but I remember it ending with just twist. Wow, this here, and you're just such on a high. Mm-hmm. And then you come back season 2, episode 1, and it's stuff happens, but it's a real slow burn.
Yes.
So I'd say that was kind of a negative to me, where it's just not quite my tempo.
Yeah, I get that. I think there's so much anticipation for this because the first season was so good. It's in no means a bad episode. It's a good start, but there was left a lot of questions, a lot of mysteries, and if anything, it asked more than it answered in terms of questions. Because it's why is this little Asian girl here? Who are these new people? Where do they come from? Where were they the whole time? What's going to happen to them? And it doesn't really resolve the most pressing things that we wanted to know. In fact, one of the kind of frustrating things I found about it was I'm itching to know what happened on the outside. But in this first episode, we don't see anything except the severed floor. I really wish we could see Audi Mark and the whole party. I wanted to just pick up right after him in the party, but we don't get any of that. It's not a bad episode, but it's setting up the pieces for more mysteries, even though they have mysteries that they already need to figure out. So I'm interested to see how they kind of play that out. I wasn't a fan of the new crew. I kind of hope they just are brushed aside. Yeah. All fine actors, good stuff. You got maybe from Arrested Development, but take them or leave them. If I'm honest. I liked a couple of the storylines when they're all right, you can leave and you'll never come back, or you can stay here. And essentially it's you're just working all day and no breaks, because you go in the elevator, second later you're coming back, where it's well, is this better? Because if you leave,
you basically just like
Die,
suicide, kind of like it's over here. So I'm like, kind of ask the question. I'm like, if my whole life was just my 9 to 5, I would probably kill myself. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but maybe it's like the will and the mystery and all this.
Yeah.
Another fun little storyline is because you got Audi Mark S. has the wife, the psychiatrist, remind me her name?
Miss Casey.
Miss Casey. But then he's got a thing with the redhead.
And they kiss at the end of the...
Yeah, they kissed at the end of season 1, and they're kind of an item here. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, that storyline will be pretty interesting, not only to see what will become of Miss Casey, but will she remember Mark? And also there's a moment between Mark and Helly where they talk. They're like, hey, it's pretty crazy that you have a wife out there, but like we kissed, And so she's kind of getting a feel for like what he thinks. And it's not the most important thing on his mind at the time because he's like, still trying to figure out stuff, but she's like, she's very Mystique in this episode because she's hiding the fact that she's the CEO's heir, and also she's like trying to get a feel for the others, what they are feeling towards like Lumen too. And so I like that. There's kind of 2 secrets happening too, hers and then Dylan's too, because Milchek shows Dylan. He's like, your wife is named Helen or Gretchen, something like that.
Sure.
And Milchek shows Dylan a room where he's like, I'm planning out this area. It's, for lack of a better term, like basically the conjugal visits.
Yeah.
Where you can see your Audi's significant others in this room without anyone else knowing. And so Milchek plants this seed that like, hey, if you're loyal to this side, then you have incentives that you want. And we all know Dylan's all about them incentives, right?
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't like the idea of betraying his friends. And so there's that added element of Milchek kind of twisting, he's got the knife up and kind of twisting it to Dylan and saying like, giving him a choice essentially. And there's a lot of moving pieces around here that I'm looking forward to seeing expanded in the next few seasons, or episodes, I should say. Thanks for watching these highlights of our episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. If you want to listen to the full episode, check out the links in the description. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you do that with your favorite YouTuber, I'm sure they would appreciate it too. Thanks, and have a great day.
Popcorn?